What's up, friends? My name is Brian Fanzo, host of the NFT 365 podcast, digital futurist known as iSocial Fans on the socials. And well, today we're going to be talking a little bit about, well, who should care and why do NFTs matter? Now, as the host of NFT 365 podcast, buying an NFT every single day for a year, you might say I'm all in the space, but I'm also very aware that at the moment, we're really only tapping into maybe 1% of the total possibilities that are in front of us with NFTs. And so I wanted to break it down not only in like use cases and the value of NFTs, because, you know, in a previous video, we talked what are NFTs, we talked about the vocab around NFTs. But in this one, I really wanted to focus on like, what does it mean for different people in different roles and different parts of their lives? And so we're going to jump directly into that because I think that will help us kind of unlock what this all means and hopefully inspire, motivate, excite you for what is possible. So first off, kind of like who should care? I think it's an easy list here, kind of the artists, the gamers, the athletes, the authors, the speakers, the entrepreneurs. Now you might be saying, oh, Brian, that's a really wide list. And the beauty of this is that although all of these people, I believe all of these roles are initially some that will definitely benefit and can leverage NFTs, it actually comes into play for NFTs as consumers. And it doesn't mean that you actually, like, maybe you play video games, right? And maybe you've spent a lot of time building up a character or you know, kind of accumulating skins and things in your favorite game. And let's say that game shuts down, or let's say you want to go on to the next game. Well, we know that in this centralized world that we've lived in with Web 2, your things are locked in there. I mean, if you've done that in Roblox and you want to take your character to another metaverse, you know, in that traditional way of thinking, that didn't exist. Now, in Web 3, built on the blockchain, that ownership is what this is all about. So for artists, I mean, this is a huge one. I myself, up until recently, consider myself artistically challenged. And I say that a little bit jokingly, but also just in like the sense of like, I'm not someone that was painting or, you know, I'm more of someone that is, you know, an artist with my words and also an artist with tech. And I recently fell in love with AI, artificial intelligence art that I've been creating in my kind of spare time. And it's unlocked an element of artistic creativity that I didn't even know I had. But with artists, one of the biggest like aha moments is that, let's face it, most artists, not only do they only benefit from like their initial sale of their art, but most of them have to rely on like an auction house or being at the right art festival or finding the exact right collector. But what NFTs provide is not only provide a community and audience that values art, but because that the NFTs have things like baked in creator royalties, and you can actually include that in the contract, every time an art piece is sold, that artist will get a percentage back to them. And we know for many artists how much that would have changed, you know, artists' lives in the past. Athletes, for example, you know, for athletes, their name and likeness, right? They're one of the things that we have to think about is, you know, for most athletes, you know, the baseball cards companies have made the money off of them, or they have to start their own charity. But if you think about it as an athlete, what if you were able to sell NFTs, yourself, that gave people access to things behind the scenes, and maybe some of your autographed memorabilia, but also allow people to buy in and believe in you when you were starting out, and then ultimately they would benefit as they move forward. And that also kind of comes into musicians as well, right? I think music NFTs, I hold, I don't even know, 13, 14 music NFTs. And music NFTs are unlocking a possibility of really ownership and connection with your fans that didn't exist in like the Spotify, Pandora, post Napster world that existed. And then, of course, even authors and speakers and entrepreneurs, most authors, one of the things that is, a difficulty is that, like, how do you not only, get people to buy your first book or build that audience and that community, but how do you let people come on that journey with you? Or even if you have like an updated version of that book, how can you, create a sense of community and a sense of, access and kind of even that, like, the new version of crowdfunding when it comes to that piece. And then of course speakers, which is what I do full time, really being able to unlock, not only rewards and community, but give people access to you that goes far beyond when I'm on stage or far beyond when I'm doing virtual events or speaking. And then of course for entrepreneurs, I really look at the business model of Web3 flipping everything on its head. Right? Our ability to build, services and products, but do it through a sense of trust and delivering that shared ownership. And I will tell you, probably one of the things that most excites me is the collaboration possibilities amongst all of these different groups. Now, the next group I want to kind of talk about when it comes to who should care about NFTs are the collectors, those that like to collect. You might notice right behind me, these are all baseball card books. And then these are Wheaties boxes that I collect. I'm a big collector. I even collect apparently Apple boxes as well, which I have over my shoulder. But collecting is a massive industry, right? And the ability to collect digital assets, right? I think of it as, what about the amateur Olympians that are out there, right? That maybe they don't have a sponsorship or someone that's paying for them to get to their Olympic dream. But what if they were able to sell, NFTs for people to be able to collect through their journey, and they could use that money to, be able to spend more time, practicing and kind of developing their skill set and maybe even being able to go there. Investments, right? This is not investment advice. This is, of course, do your own research, not financial advice. But investors, right? For me, stock market was really always a disconnected relationship. I don't have a real strong relationship with the CEOs and founders of these companies that I'm attempting to, build or buy into. But in this space, our distance between those that we are investing in and our role as investors in the NFT space is unlike, in my opinion, anything else that is there. Also supporters, right? You can be a nonprofit supporter, charity. You can be a supporter of just good people. You could be a supporter of local missions and things that are possible, even your local church group or maybe your local political group or even a movement, right? The idea that we can broadcast that, we can find our people, but we can also come on that journey and benefit throughout that entire kind of system, to me is one of those ones that's super exciting. And then the last one there is day traders, right? I think day trading is a stock, concept, financial concept that has been around for a long time, but there are components of, it is unlocking new, not only opportunities for generational wealth, but also new ways to buy and sell and really put our money behind people, products, and services in ways that we never have been able to before. And for me, that's kind of why it's fun. This is taking Kickstarter to an entire new level, because instead of me kickstarting a company and getting a cheap product up front, I can kickstart it, get the cheap product up front because I was there at the beginning, but I can also hold my NFT, and the more successful that company is, the more valuable the NFT is that I will hold. Then those that, the next part I want to kind of talk about are those that are, if you are a builder, and I mean builder as in building of new businesses, new ideas. If you're an innovator, right? You like to push new possibilities. You love to solve problems with outside the box thinking, or even the combination of technology and humanity. And then of course, also business owners, right? I think, when we look at business owners, how they have to look at things like supply chain, and how do you reward your most, passionate and most dedicated customers? Well, with NFTs and the blockchain, you're able to create reward mechanisms unlike anything we've ever seen before. And doing so doesn't cost the business owner a lot of money. The barrier to entry for those that are doing it is not that much, but you're able to scale it, and you're even able to give percentages of your business or percentage of certain products. And to me, this takes influencer marketing, affiliate marketing to a level that really is shared ownership and, kind of changing the dynamic of how we turn our biggest fans into our, not only our customers, but our marketers, our supporters, and as we push forward from there. The other one that I want to kind of tap into when it comes to, those that maybe this isn't about launching your own NFT, but more about the experiences that you have, right? If you are someone that goes to concerts, I love going to concerts, right? The only way that you can prove or that you validate that you went to a concert is if you hold on to that ticket stub, which we all know we put it into our pocket and who knows where it goes, or it gets wet, or you get drunk, or whatever it may be. But what if the bands and the musicians were able to reward and incentivize based on, the actions that you take as a concert goer, or even, let's all face it, we've all been there. We support a band before anyone knows who they are. And then when they get big, we feel like alienated. We feel like, man, we were there at the beginning. But what if we were able to own NFTs of those bands at those beginnings, right? Like that can really unlock some unique possibilities. Sporting events, masterminds. This is one that is super exciting, right? Because what if by holding an NFT, you were get access to luxury boxes? Or what if by holding an NFT, only those that held these 3 NFTs could get into this mastermind? Right now, you're as a mastermind host, which is what I've done in many cases, I'm able to have a baseline of knowledge, but I'm also able to have people invest in certain things to prove that they're going to be there to invest in the mastermind. And of course, with sporting events as well, going beyond season tickets, right? It's one thing to sell season tickets to fans, but what about those games? What about those people that live around the world that can't attend the physical event, or maybe the people that are go to every event? How can we reward them at a greater level than those that just buy tickets and sell them on eBay or whatever that may be? And then of course, like education and travel, I think is another one where, for travel agents, if you were able to have an NFT that you could gift to those that are booking travel through you, and with that NFT, they get certain discounts and certain things over a certain period of time, it really changes that ability of like the value of a travel agent. And I would even argue in many cases, yes, you could give them a discount code, but we know what happens there, right? People post a discount code online, they share it with their friends, and all of a sudden the client that you wanted to connect them with no longer wants to honor that discount code, because now it's not exclusive. Now it's not doing them any benefit. And so we are really thinking about like the ways that you can, how can you transfer ownership? How can you share experiences? And even how can you validate different things that are going on? Like I think of it as like when you travel to a city for the first time, what if your friends were able to send you NFTs that unlocked certain restaurants or a table that they reserved at their favorite place? That's really something that's exciting. And we're already seeing it happen with projects like the Fly Fish Club, where you have to hold an NFT to actually go to that restaurant or participate in some of their dining experiences, which I think is a really creative use case. Now, all of these things are exciting, but really the other part of this that I think is important is that we are redefining what is considered a creator economy, which really means how do we monetize? How do we buy and sell? And in this world we're in today, we have new jobs and new services that don't fit into our traditional business model, and even don't fit into like a subscription business model, or even your traditional products and services business models. Well, we're able to unlock new possibilities with NFTs for things like community events and associations and memberships. And I'm a fraternity member, right? Kappa Delta Rho is the fraternity I was a part of in college. And if I think about it in a fraternity, part of the beauty of it is like we are all a shared interest, but every year the seniors graduate, right? And you have to onboard new people. And if you think about that model for businesses, right? How do you onboard new customers knowing that other customers are going to move away? Part of that is giving them a sense of ownership and allowing them to, have that ownership when it's valuable to them, but also move on for that. And I will argue that people are willing to pay more money and really expand on that in ways that we've not seen before. And really where I would wrap this one on and kind of summarize for you, digital ownership really comes down to a lot of different value propositions, things that are valuable. Creator royalties being baked in, right? Every time someone buys and sells, every time an NFT is bought or sold, that creator is able to reap the benefits of that. I think it's going to disrupt the car industry. I think it's going to disrupt the designer handbag industry, right? You're no longer going to have knockoffs of designer bags, because you're going to have a digital twin NFT or a QR code that is baked into the actual designer bag that associates who owns it, who owned it, who owned it prior to, and give a little bit of that authority to what's going on. IP rights, right? The idea that like who owns something or who owns something first, right? We've all been there, or maybe we've heard stories of someone launching a company only to be taken to court because someone claims that they talked about that company first, 5 years ago. Well, with a blockchain, you would be able to validate that, right? If something is minted onto the blockchain, it has a hashtag, it has a hash, it has a time, it is all stamped, it is immutable, it is not, there is no way to edit that. And therefore, who owns what, or who has the initial rights, or who was first, will really be, transformed in this NFT Web3 space. And then the last part there is that authenticated proof, right? How do we prove that we are who we say we are? How do we prove that we've done what we say we've done? And a lot of that has been like, even when you apply for a job, how do you like the amount of work that goes into getting your diploma or your proof of work? But what if at your job every promotion came with an NFT that was in your wallet, and when you left that job, you were able to take that NFT and share it to your new future employer, and they would actually able to validate the things that you've made claims inside of you, what you're doing. To me, that's a really exciting opportunity in front of us. And I would say this all kind of comes down to that old adage of the rising tide lifts all boats. When I look at NFTs, it really does unlock the possibilities of us investing in each other, of us finding new ways to collaborate, and doing so transparently, but also allowing us all to rise together. For me, as like a Dave Matthews Band fan back in the early 2000s, when I joined the fan club, yes, I got discounts to tickets, but as the band became more successful, that didn't make my fandom being there early any more of a benefit. But in this Web3 NFT model, that would completely change. And as the bands, rose, my ownership of what I owned being an early fan would increase in value as well. And it kind of falls into what our mantra is on the podcast, and really my mantra in life. And that is, we are greater than me. And if you think about that, how can we come together? How can we innovate? How can we build community that really transforms the way we think about every aspect of our lives? Well, we need to remove the borders. We need to remove the biases and a lot of the things that exist in our lives today, and that unlock the possibilities. And I don't care where you live, what you're all about. I believe NFTs give us that possibility of not only finding our people and being able to find people to work with, to collaborate, maybe our future business partner or future partners in life, but it really allows us to not feel alone and find our tribe and connect with people in ways that I think are exciting to see, where that all takes us. Of course, I am the host of the daily podcast, NFT 365. We also have a sister or best friend podcast, which is called the Getting Started with NFTs podcast, where we talk about all things like this, all things getting started with NFTs, hopefully onboarding you into the space. And then, of course, the daily show, we talk about all kinds of things, from news to education to inspiration to breaking down mindset to even going deeper with each one of these use cases. So definitely check them out. They're available on YouTube as well as all of your favorite podcasting apps. And for myself, Fanzo, I hope I opened your mind to what's possible. I don't think NFTs as a whole are the answer. I think it's actually the people that look at this idea of digital ownership and transparent, authenticated, and validated experiences and say, what can this unlock? I truly do believe blockchain is going to change the world in ways that are exciting, that help us as humanity to feel less alone, to feel more connected, to do solve things and really provide solutions at scale and innovate in ways that will truly impact every aspect of our lives. So until tomorrow, until the next time we chat, make it a great day, my friends. Cheers.